Hello and welcome to another edition of Tours from the Attic. For today's episode, I thought we'd take a look at Space Armor Iron Man. So without further ado, let's take a closer look at this guy. The Iron Man armor created by Tony Stark is one of the most sophisticated and powerful weapons ever designed, but even it has its limitations. Thus, Stark has also created a series of specialty armors for use under specific conditions. Iron Man's space armor contains high-yield thrusters that can propel him into Earth's orbit in a matter of seconds. Also equipped with a long-term internal air supply and a bevy of weapons specifically designed to work in the cold void of outer space. Here we have a look at Marvel and Toy Biz's Space Armor Iron Man. Now, I've said it before, I really don't like it when they just put out the same basic figure with a slightly different paint job or new weapon or armor upgrade and consider it a new character, because they never really use those particular upgrades in the show or in the comic books. However, Iron Man is the exception to that because he does actually own all those different armors and he does actually use them. Now, the space armor was never really used in the actual cartoon show. From what I could remember, that continuity of that thing was kind of all over the place, if memory serves me correctly. However, I do remember my cousin, he was a big Iron Man fan, showing me the images of the space armor in the actual comic books. And it was one of the Iron Man, or Tony Stark's older armors, so it did have a little bit more of a retro look, especially compared to what was out currently at the time. But yeah, this one actually looks a lot spot on. The helmet had a little bit more bulk to it in the comics, more than what was shown on the more modern day Iron Man characters, where the helmet kind of hugs the face a little bit more. This one actually seemed a little bit more like a little bit of a space helmet, like you might have some extra parts in there for him to breathe. You can also see little bits of more electronics right there on his shoulders. They were never painted, but yeah, this was Toy Biz at the time. They kind of didn't have a lot of that Art Deco, especially considering that those parts are actually going to be covered by his armor accessories. I should also state, yeah, he has the standard articulation, blah, blah, blah. Head can move side to side, arms up and down, elbow bend, leg bend, knee bend. You've seen it, you know the drill. Anyways, the armor attachments are what made these guys really, really cool. You can see right here. However, the armor was also one of its biggest downfalls. As I've said before, there's a lot of little pieces to these things, so they can get lost very easily. Luckily, I still have most of the pieces to the space armor here, so that's one good thing going for this guy. I haven't lost anything on him just yet. At least I don't think so. Get his shoulder pads on here. The other downside is this armor is that brittle plastic. It doesn't have a lot of flex to it, so you're afraid that if you're manhandle it a little bit too much, something might snap off, especially one of the pegs might snap off in the hole right there, and then you're kind of stuck. You can't ever put the armor back on him again, or if you step on these things, it might just crumble into a million pieces. The other downside is the metallic paint does chip off over time, so there might be a little bit wear and tear here and there. However, if you think about it, that could be considered as battle damage or just standard wear from when he uses the armor and fighting the Mandarin or some other bad guy. That name escapes me right now. So that last one you could take either way, as either an upside with age or a downside with age. Now, he does come with this gun. At least I think this is the gun that comes with him. It's kind of hard with some of the guys because they came with a lot of weapons. It doesn't fit too well into this slot right here. I think just standard wear and tear. I don't remember if it came with this guy or one of the other armors that I had down the line. My memory's a little fuzzy on that one. Now, the big gimmick about this particular armor is you can see these handles actually will fit right over here, and his hands are molded directly to hold right onto them. Get that right in there. And you see this little hook right here. You just pull that up, and it's like he's launching up into space. Now, sadly, he doesn't actually go up all the way. There's still just a little bit of a gap because he's too heavy for that spring in there to actually pull him all the way up. And that has nothing to do with the age of the actual toy. I just remember even back when I was a kid, the spring mechanism in there wasn't that powerful. Now, I don't really like to keep them in this form all that much because I am having to bend these plastic parts around kind of far, and I'm worried that if I ever kept him like kind of holding on to those handles, that these things would eventually snap and break. You can kind of see a little bit of twisting
in there as soon as I turn it. So yeah, I kind of want to keep them as crisp and as try to keep them as good as looking sharp as possible. Now you might notice that there's one extra hole right here because you might think, oh, you're missing the belt that goes with this guy. Well, no, I don't think he actually came with a belt. All the holes on these guys were pretty standardized, which meant that you could take armor from another figure and put it on this guy and vice versa. So yeah, you could actually mix and match and get a lot of different variations on a lot of different armors, and it was kind of only limited to your imagination and how many figures you actually had. Still, all in all, this guy is actually a pretty good rendition of the space armor. It really captures that retro feel, and I'm actually happy I picked it up. Anyways, this has been a look at Space Armor Iron Man. Once again, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed what you've seen today, please feel free to like, subscribe, or leave a comment below in the comment section. Any advice for the show will be greatly appreciated. Who knows, something you suggest may appear on the show in the future.